This is the MFG Monkey Podcast. We sit down with leaders and innovators in the industry to talk about manufacturing, business, and the stories behind their successes. I'm your host, Dustin McMillan, owner and founder of McMillan Co. Kevin Dean, long time. What is up, my man?
What is going on, Dustin, my friend? Loved it. Glad to just hang out and chat.
Yeah, so Kevin comes to us from Mano Byte, and we're going to talk a little AI today and probably a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
You and I connected probably 4 months ago, it seems like.
Yeah.
And we had been scheduled to record a podcast maybe 4 times, and our schedules just weren't linking up, and I can't think of a better podcast to kick off 2025 with.
Well, 2025 is going to be amazing, and
absolutely,
you and I get to kick it off, man. Like
that's right.
Like just get to hang out and do our thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, we've already noticed a big uptick in 2025 just with quoting activity and people pulling the trigger on some things, a lot more confidence in the market and things like that. So. Hopefully you're seeing the same thing.
It is interesting. I think there's a lot of factors. Last year was an election year, a lot of uncertainties. I think, just with all that being behind us, fresh slate, I think everybody's ready to now let's get to work. Let's get to business.
Yeah.
Like, what's the future look like? Let's just pave that road together. I think that's where everybody's head's at right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've just seen, in the last 15 days a difference. So hopefully that trend continues and all that fun stuff. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, as long as our economy's banging. Who cares, right?
Yeah. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
Other that, as owners, presidents, CEOs of companies, we care about delivering results for our customers and ensuring that we're doing what's right for our companies and our people. So, the rest of the stuff, it'll just wash itself out and come out in the water.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree. I want to squirrel out just for a second. So behind you, there's a diver's helmet. That thing is awesome.
Oh, man. So I started diving when I was maybe 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm a water dude, man. I'm in the water all the time. Like, just get me in the water. I love it. So,
that's great.
That's my thing. So yeah, that's one of my pieces that I love. You got the shark's tooth up there. So, and then you got the Kraken. So I've been scuba diving in some killer places. My mom used to live in Hawaii. So Hawaii's just kind of like, old hat, even though it's cool. But my favorite place that I dove was in Egypt, Sharm el-Sheikh, man.
Oh, wow.
Waters were absolutely amazing. So just crazy.
That's all. It's one of my things that I want to do is dive. I have a buddy down in Marathon, Florida that's diving again, and him and his son got certified, and a couple of my other buddies and their kids got certified. So that's definitely something on my short list to do. And I'm the same way. I love the water. I'm probably on a boat 4 or 5 days a week, and either just riding around or fishing or whatever. So
yeah,
it's you're in California?
No, Tampa, man.
Tampa, that's right. I was just in Tampa.
Tampa Bay.
I wish I would have remembered that. I was just in Tampa last Monday.
Man, I was taking you out on the boat.
Yeah, no, I'll be back there again. So
we should do a podcast on the boat next time. Let's get it.
There we go. That's great. I don't know why I was thinking you were in California, but I was in Marathon for a week and a half, and then stopped in Tampa and visited a potential customer, and came back to the blistery cold with 4 inches of snow.
Sorry for you, man. It's not.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I absolutely love Florida, and I love the snow too. So we're headed to Montana on Monday to ski and ride snowmobiles. So
yeah, I see the snow should be behind you.
Yeah, that was just a gift this Christmas.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, another one on the other side of the fireplace. But so
love it.
Fun stuff for sure. Well, I mean, we could probably bullshit like this all day, but just to let our audience know a little bit about what we're going to talk about, business wise, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of this fun stuff in our conversation. But we're going to talk about AI automation and manufacturing, distribution and logistics. Your company works in the IT space and retail, energy and utilities. So tell us more about that, buddy.
Yeah. So Manabyte, we've been around 18 years. And, we've kind of had this evolution with technology and leveraging it to help businesses be much more successful. And we just, over the past several years, have been really diving into AI and how that can help businesses be much more successful, automate their processes, get better results, and, lower operational costs. And, one of the things that we've been doing for a long time is we work with companies that sell through a channel or through distribution, right? So manufacturing world, as you've got your manufacturer, and that manufacturer will sell to like maybe a wholesaler, right? And that wholesaler sells it out to a reseller. That reseller gets it out into the hands of, a consumer, or maybe it's a builder that gets it, right? And that builder gets it into the hands of the consumer, right? And so that process of, how do you ensure that your product actually makes it all the way through that cycle? The best way from a distribution perspective, there's so many intricacies that AI can help you understand better, and then help to automate some of those processes that are involved in making that. And we've been heavily thinking about this for like a very long time, because, as you know, in the manufacturing space, there's this disconnect between the manufacturer and the end product. So we've been looking at ways to help leverage technology to help solve for that.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a great opportunity to leverage AI on the front end with quoting and things too. So there's a great company out there, Paperless Parts, that had kind of revolutionized the industry and the machining and laser cutting world. And then in our world, I would love to automate the quoting process online. I mean, it's pretty in depth for us to quote, a 5-cent item that we may cut 1 million of, but it takes a lot to put that quote together. It could take days, and then you're looking through a spreadsheet, making sure you don't have any errors and all those things. Where just recently, I took our whole spreadsheet and dumped it in the chat and said, "Hey, what am I missing here? check my formulas, things like that." It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. So we've done a lot of leveraging CPQ, configure price quote, using AI, right? And so, because one of the things that a lot of companies struggle with, just like you're saying, is on that quoting process. So, when, especially like in the manufacturing world, you got to put together all your specifications and all this other stuff. And it's just like, it takes forever, right? And so I leverage technology to make that better, quicker, faster. We do a lot of stuff like that. One of the things that we're doing right now is working with another manufacturing company. Well, actually, they're a distributor. They're not a manufacturer. They work with lots of other manufacturers, but which is even harder. Right? So if you imagine, like, you're the manufacturer, you've got 2 or 3, 5 SKUs, and you've got all this process. Now you give it to your distributor, and they've got like 100 different manufacturers. They've got to go through that process. And so we helping this one company use AI, CRM, CPQ to do a one-click quote generation type of process, which makes life significantly better. And the thing about it is, once you standardize and you can do those things, right? How involved it is. You got to get this person to do that person, and there's all the errors that you're talking about with AI, all of that type of stuff. So it's pretty cool, fun stuff to geek out on.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I'm going through your website. I was going through it a little earlier today, and you guys are working with HubSpot.
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah,
you're integrated with HubSpot, and that's one of the. Are you working with them to do quoting through HubSpot, or tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we do a lot of work with HubSpot. Probably 90% of our work is through HubSpot. And in HubSpot, we do have the ability to generate quotes like automatically, right, through HubSpot. So it's all in one platform because you got your customer information, you got your product information, you've got tools for AI to go through and understand, personalize those quotes, make sure that you're getting all of the specifications that you need done. And then it's just
Mm-hmm.
couple clicks and you've got that quote generated. Then it's tied to the customer. You've got that dollar amount. So you can see that whole cycle, cash to revenue right in one spot and just completely manage that, which is pretty cool.
Now, are you tying into ERP system as well? Tracking cost and so forth.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of times we'll take what we've got in HubSpot from a CRM perspective. You've got
Mm-hmm.
then we push that over to your ERP, whether it's like a NetSuite or Acumatica. And that way you've got all of your billing, all your pricing, everything right there,
Wow.
tied together, synced together. A lot of times companies will keep all of their products in their ERP. And so instead of manually taking those products and entering them into your CRM, you just have a two-way integration where it's actually connecting and pulling and pushing information back and forth so that you've got this whole connected system.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I feel like we're ahead of the eight ball until I talk to somebody like you, and I'm like, we're behind. Uh, we'll keep that a secret, though, right? No, I think just with where the industry's going and how impatient all of us have become, especially with the younger generation.
Right.
The younger generation is even more impatient than we are, and we expect things right now.
Oh,
Um, and with all this new technology, it's just becoming uh, better or worse, however you want to look at it.
yeah, it's a new way of thinking, right? It's a new way of doing things that I think we all have to take a lesson from the younger generation, right? Just be
Hmm.
they're the ones that the truth is, right? They're the ones that are leading the next chapter, right?
Yep.
That's soon here that everybody's talking about. So and 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 really, I think about it from a customer perspective, right? Um, Customers don't like the lengthy processes either, right? And so
Hmm.
that we can get a quote, a solution into the hands of a customer, the happier they're going to be. The happier the customer is going to be, the more money we're going to make, right? And so all of that really ties together. And leveraging technology the right way allows you to service your customers, get things done quicker. And so, yeah, are there costs associated with it? 100%, right? But um, the benefits are going to well outweigh, right? You're going to see a return in your investment year one, right? So, if you buy a machine, you're not going to get that return on investment in year one, right? You've got a 5-year plan out for that, right? So, that's the way you got to think about it.
Yeah. Well, if you're getting a 1 year ROI, that's a no brainer in my book. And if like you're talking about a machine, if we can pay for a machine in 1 year, we there's really no discussion. We just
No,
buy the
discussion.
machine.
No
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, same thing with this, and it's like marketing or anything else. As long as you make your decisions on your return, and if you're not getting a return, you scrap it, and if you are getting a return, you keep throwing money at it, hopefully, and keep getting a bigger return.
Yeah, that's the way, right? And I think what a lot of people struggle with is it's like in the manufacturing world, we understand machinery. We're engineers,
Hmm.
understand all of that, right? Now, when it comes to some of this technology and how it works and how it's supposed to go together, we don't understand that, right? And so
Right.
now we're trusting on somebody else where we're used to making all those decisions because we understand it, we've got it, we know it. Yep.
Yep.
So wait a minute, I don't know this, and so that I think that makes it a challenge for a lot of folks. It's like, man, I'm not used to doing it this way, right? I got to
Yeah.
think of a new way of running the shop, but I've been doing this for X, 20 years, right?
Right.
So I think that's a big challenge that people have to get over is that mindset of you got to think differently, right?
Sure. Yeah, and if you're not thinking differently, you're not moving forward. And we try to change every day if we can. And I challenge my folks because I was challenged to use chat with from one of my buddies that I was talking about, and then he challenged me to have our, other team members use chat, and they were, pretty resistant at first. And then, the feedback has been positive because it improves their productivity, it improves their accuracy. It's just another tool in your, in your toolbox. And if you can do that, then why not? And then you get into the question of colleges, and colleges don't want, they don't want you using anything to do with chat. It's like, well, let's pull the reins back here. Maybe we should embrace it because it's a tool. It's just like anything else. Well, you can't use spell check. You got to know how to spell on your own. Well, what the hell is that? I'm probably one of the worst spellers on earth, and I lean on Grammarly because I just yeah. It's like why wouldn't I use that? And it's not cheating, or maybe it is.
No, it's not cheating at all, right? It's kind of like, we're about the same age, so you remember the time when we were in school. They're like, no, you can't use a calculator. Well,
exactly.
I mean,
yeah,
it's like, of course you use a calculator, right?
Right.
It's like I think it's just even educators are trying to catch up with how do you educate this new generation to do things differently. Like my son is 14, right? And he uses ChatGPT all the time for school, right? And he understands it even better. I own a technology company that focuses on AI, right? And he understands a lot of stuff better than I do, right? It's just because they think about things. They don't have to get rid of baggage to think about a new way. Their brains are just automatically firing.
Right.
Oh, I need to do it this way. I need to put in this. I need to do that, right? It's just like, it's second nature to them, right?
Yeah.
I think what we've got to think about is how do we allow these tools to become second nature to us in order to help us get to where we need to go today.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it is we can know how to do something one way and we can get there pretty quickly. And then to learn a new way, it may take twice as long or 3 times as long the first time until you internalize it, like you're talking about with your son. He doesn't have any other way. So he just figures it out. And then every time after that, he just becomes faster and faster at it.
Yeah, that's it.
So, what other industries for me? With MFG Monkey, we're really interested in the manufacturing, distribution, logistics. Talk to me a little bit about distribution and logistics and how you've helped those companies.
Yeah, we help a lot of distribution companies really connecting their entire process from the customer in that customer journey, right? Like from the sales side, helping them, make sure that you're thinking about who the customer is, what products they need, how to then just take that through into now they're a customer, and now how do you continue to service them, right? And in the right way to ensure that they're getting helped, right? Because a lot of times there's this disconnect between it once they make a purchase and now they need to be serviced. Like there's a big disconnect. Trying to figure out like where things are in the process, when are things going to arrive to me, what's the next step in the process has always been a disconnect. And so using tools like HubSpot, we built solutions that allow that whole buyer's journey for the customer to be seamless, right? Creating this better customer experience. And the other thing is a lot of times when we're working with, most of the time you probably know who your base of customers are going to be, right? Everyone in the market that you're going to go after generally, right? And a lot of your sales are repeat customers, right? And so understanding those cycles are really important, right? So that things don't get messed. And so we help a lot of companies to say, okay, we know that customer A, B, and C is going to want to buy these products around this time of year. Automating that buyer's process, right, helps with our sales guys who forget, it's not the squeakiest wheel, so they kind of have them on the back burner. And so leave cash on the table by ensuring that you're automating that sales cycle. We help a lot of companies with that process.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of repetitive actions in all of our businesses. And I agree. The more you take them out, the more accurate you are and faster you can become, for sure. What's one of your favorite projects that you've worked on in the industry in the last 12 months?
Oh man, one of my favorite projects that we worked on in the past 12 months. So it's a little bit of a toss up here. I think one of my favorite projects um, is I'm not going to name the company, but um, they're a well-known brand that has also a arm where they are helping with projects. So like you'll get a big project on a construction site, right? And you've got all of these things that you need to make sure that show up and get there on the construction site, right? And in order for that all to get there on time, right? You got lots of people bidding on these projects, and let's just say that they're building, a multi-family residence, right? And they're going to, um, I got to make sure that I have all of my kitchenware and all of my everything within this utility that I need, right? And so we really helped this process with this one company for them to streamline how they're bidding all these projects so that they can get the best quotes. They got to get quotes from the manufacturers in order to get it out to the project. Then once you get the right quotes done, making sure that you have the highest margin, ensure that it gets to the bid on time, right? And so that's a big process. So it was really cool to be able to take that process of here's the project that we're going after, here's all the things, and make sure that we're finding the best manufacturer to make sure that we're getting the highest margin and ensure that we get that quote, that bid in for this project on time. And then once you get that bid in, make sure that you got everything to push back so that you can now go out and purchase everything to get it to the customer, the project site on time. So that was pretty cool because it really touched like every single element. We're able to like automate that process and really not just automate the process, but then prove and show here's our margins, right? Like now we're increasing our margins, right? And even when you increase a margin by 0.5% on some of these things, that's big money, right? And so that was a cool project.
Yeah, and it is unbelievable how many moving pieces and parts are on a construction site. We were talking about that last Thursday in our Vistage meeting. One of our members is they have a big development and investment company, and they're building out, hotels and just whole customer experience. And some of these properties that these guys are building out are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you think about everything from the dirt to the sky that has to happen, and all the moving pieces and parts, and the people involved, and the regulation and permits, and there's millions of moving pieces and parts to make a project like that happen. And then with the builder, it's just a dumbed down scale of a giant hotel or whatever, but it's still so many moving pieces and parts. It's unfathomable.
Yeah, there's so much to it, right? And a lot can easily get lost, right? If you don't have it like the right way. And then the interesting thing on some of these projects is that let's say that, to your point, like you've got a project, it's one project, but that one project has multiple sub projects within it, right?
Oh God, yeah.
You get like this order to, that part of the project, this one over to that one. I mean, that could be a logistical nightmare if you don't have the right tools and systems in place to manage all that. And then like the cost associated, right? And so there's one customer that we were working with, right? They would have different suppliers, right, delivering different pieces to different parts of the same project because they're different places, right? And then multiple business units within their organization bidding on different things. It was a mess, right? And so you can see that really needed to be organized, and we were able to help them together a solution that really managed that for them and gave them better visibility and higher profitability.
Sure. And with the workforce the way it is, it's kind of it's not a real sexy thing about talking about replacing jobs. However, when you can't hire people, and you can't hire the right people, and you still need to get the job done, I would have to think that these tools are helping that issue that that we're having with employment. And if it takes 20 people to manage a project or whatever that number is, and you can only hire 10, this, I would have to assume, would help that situation.
Yeah, for sure it does. But I think this is where AI plays a huge role. So, one of the challenges that a lot of our customers face is that not just hiring new people. Well, first let's talk about why they're hiring new people. They're hiring new people because everybody's aging out, right? That's a lot of So you've got, these senior folks aging out because they're now retirable age, and they have all this institutional knowledge that's in their head, right? They know exactly how to get this here, this part there, that one here, all the logistics, who to call. Like, they just know all of this stuff because they've been doing it years and years and years. Now you bring in a new person, they don't know that. They don't have that information, right? And so now what AI does, AI gives you the ability to level the playing field. So now, a new person coming in, they instantly can have all of that knowledge that allows them to be as productive as the person who's been here with your company for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And that is a game changer. And a lot of the manufacturers that we work with, like, that's a huge value for them to be investing into AI, because you're going to have institutional knowledge walk out your door within the next couple of years. Now, what do you do, right? So these AI tools help you to alleviate those knowledge gaps that are coming up.
Yeah, if you can harness tribal knowledge and record it some way, that's like you said, that is a game changer, because and that's a scary thing as an employer. If you have one or two key people leave for whatever reason, and they have this tribal knowledge and it's not recorded and nobody knows where to get it, or even as a founder, if people are coming to you every, they're messaging you 20 times a minute, where do we get this? How do we know that? What vendor do we call for this? Where, I can't find that. If you can put all that in one place, and they can go and ask, AI, hey, we need to order this type of material. Who have we bought it from in the past? Instead of searching a database.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing as well.
That's a huge win, right? And you take it a couple of steps further, right? I think because we're so stuck in the way of thinking, right? So you just have a conversation with AI, right? And so you have to build your knowledge store, right? Well, you've got knowledge in lots of places. The challenge has been historically that knowledge wasn't in a structured format. Well, now we don't need for it to be structured. But so you've got your knowledge, you get it there. And so you just allow this new employee to come in and talk through what he needs, right? And so he can have a conversation. Then you build out AI to take action in that new employee's behalf, right? It's like, hey, we've got this new project. Here's what they're thinking about. Show me the best project, the best parts at the best margin. Boom. I got, okay, thanks. Those are the best parts. Give me the best supplier. Boom. I got the supplier. Now you tell it, create the quote for me. Boom. Create the quote for me, right? And so, instead of that employee having to do all those manual steps, it's not that they just get the knowledge, but they also are executing the command at the same time, right? And it's really in a conversational manner. And now all of this is happening in like literally minutes, right?
Yeah.
And so,
and you do need somebody that has the wherewithal to, because I just found an error that, chat made yesterday for me. Is like, I had to calculate, I had a part size, and I want to know like how many I could nest in a certain envelope. And it was all, before I would have needed an engineer with a drawing to actually nest that part out. And I could just go in and say, okay, the general dimensions are this. I want to separate them by 1/4 inch. My envelope is 12 by 16. How many parts per, this envelope can I get? And then that tells me how much material I need and da-da-da-da. Well, it does all this, and I'm like, oh, that's not right. Just simple math, if we can get X number of parts per foot, it should be, this lineal foot of material. And it did come up with the wrong answer. So I put in, well, let's second check this with this many parts per feet. And it was kind of cool how it came back. I forget. Let me find it, because it admitted that it made an error.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, it has the wherewithal to say, oh, sorry, I kind of messed up. I'm trying to find this real quick. Oh, you were absolutely correct to ask that. If it is possible to make so many parts per feet, the calculation needs to be this. And then it made the recalculation. And I was like, wow, that part really impressed me, that it is like, oh, wait, I'm glad you asked that, because we did make an error.
Yeah, and that's great too, because one of the things where we talk about, like, will people lose jobs? I think I don't think that necessarily people are losing jobs, but they have different jobs, right? And so you take some of your seasoned experience, staff members, and you have them be AI checkers, right? A job they do, like, hey, fact check this, right? Oh, then you tune the model, right? And so the more that you tune the model, the better, the stronger it gets, right? I think that's a new job that we're seeing arise in the marketplaces. AI tuners, right? They're the ones who are looking to say, oh, this answer was incorrect. Here's why it's incorrect. You tell it why it's incorrect, just like what you did, and now the next time it knows not to make that error, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, and just the AI programmers, my buddy was talking to me about AI programming jobs and the dollars that they're paying those folks. Holy crap. I mean, it's unbelievable. And who would have thought that they would have been, we'd be paying programmers $500,000 or $1 million to program.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole different level of employment there. So it's great. I mean, I think it's bringing a lot of good things. I had a conversation with somebody a few months ago, and he was an older gentleman, but he just wasn't a fan at all. And I was excited to have that conversation and have this conversation with you. It's just both ends of the spectrum, and I feel like I fall somewhere in the middle. Just trying to learn it and learn how to harness it and learn how to make it work for our company. But I mean, I'm, like I told you before we started talking, I'm a big fan. It's allowed me to do things that would probably take me 4 days to do, I could do in 4 hours.
Oh yeah. I mean, it really does, flip the script, right? It really,
yeah.
I mean, and now as, leaders of organizations, we have to just think about, it's not all bad. It's not all good, right? Where's the in between? I think you're taking the right approach, right? And, I think, when you're paying, an AI guy $500,000, let's just say, okay, you're going to get that value back, right? Because the speed in which you're going to get to the next level, the operational costs that you'll save, a lot of companies think about, well, what's your cost per ticket, right? Right. If you have a service ticket, right? How much does it cost for you to service somebody, right? And you can easily see, oh my goodness, like if we could bring that, ticket, that cost per ticket down, exponentially, like that money just goes away. It's like totally worth it. I think, like, again, where you can see the ROI, you just got to know where you're looking for it, and then use those areas for going after ROI for those key use cases. And now where you're getting your money back quickly, then you shave off some time for this AI guy to look at things strategically for the future for visionary, right? So you don't necessarily pour all your money just into the vision of the future, but like you look at first, here's how I'm going to save costs. Okay, great. It's worth me to save costs here. And now I'm going to shave off some of that cost savings that I got that paid for it to look.
Yeah, I agree. My wheels are turning for sure. So I was excited to have this conversation, and now I'm excited to have the next conversation probably offline about, how you can help us and things like that. I'm a big user of HubSpot and have been for many years. We do have an interesting podcast coming up where it's a CRM that's an AI CRM. So it'll be really interesting to have a conversation with him and what he's done in the CRM world, because the CRM is only as good as the information that we put into it. And salespeople are not good CRM users.
They're not, right? I with AI is only as good as the knowledge that that it has as well.
Yep.
And so I think both are really good things to think about. But as we start giving our tools more latitude, right? Now we can give our salespeople more time, right? Why make a salesperson do data entry? That's just a waste of his time and your money, right? And that's why they don't do the things, right? And so, I think it's a new world, right? You have to think about, oh, I'm going to allow these tools to have complete access to my email. Oh, right. They now have complete access to my time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they now have complete access to, where I'm going, right? I think that that's taking all that data and pushing it into the tools gives us the ability to free up a lot of what the salespeople are doing. And we think, oh, this sounds a little Big Brotherish. Well, maybe, but I think the truth is that this isn't new. Like all this stuff has been there anyway, right? But it's been being tracked anyway.
Yeah, and that brings up a very interesting question when it comes to compliance, right? So we in manufacturing, distribution, logistics in our world, we play in the ITAR world where McMillan Code isn't necessarily ITAR certified, but we're ITAR compliant, and there are a lot of things that we have to comply to, and in our database is one of them. So I wonder how this is going. The Chat GPT and other AI tools. How's this going to be affected by staying compliant? When we can't even have a virtual assistant that lives in another country in our database, it's a whole different ballgame when you start talking about artificial intelligence in your system.
Yeah. So that's a great question. All right. And that's a fun question. This is kind of where we like to start diving in and geek it out. Right. And so what you now have is what's called Edge AI, right?
Okay.
And so Edge AI is AI systems that don't live in the cloud, right? They live right on the edge of your systems, right? So you think about times a lot of that stuff. And so what it's doing is it's only using your data, your models within the confines of your pieces and only getting information externally that it needs without exposing your data, your systems, whatever else you're doing. So it's obfuscating that one little piece going out. Okay, great. And then sending it back to you. So that's a cool way of ensuring that you're staying compliant and that everything is the right way.
Yeah. Have you been involved with companies that do self-assessment for NIST or anything like that?
No, we haven't done anything yet.
Okay. No, and that'll be interesting because we're on that path with NIST, and it'll be interesting how AI is evaluated. And the NIST, and I forget what all the acronyms are, but the short version of it is it's a self-assessment, and then the long version is the government comes in and audits you, especially when you're handling government drawings and things like that have sensitive information, and not that we don't have anything that's interacting with our servers or anything at this point. But if we were to say have something interacting where it's quoting and it's talking between our CRM and our ERP and our WMS system, and there is that AI aspect, how does NIST interact with that?
Yeah, there's some cool tools out there that allow you to have some greater visibility, that to see what's going on in those processes. Not all can be tracked, but there's a lot of it that is out there. I was speaking this fall at the Forrester Conference in Austin, Texas, and there are a lot of government agencies there trying to figure it out just like everybody else is, right?
Oh, sure.
So, yeah, there are some tools. There are tools out there that allow for compliance, transparency, where you can report that transparency.
Yeah, interesting. So earlier you were showing me a new device that you have. Show everyone this thing that you were bragging about. So I don't even know what it is. I've seen a picture of it one time, and this is how old school I am. Like, you showed me this thing, and I'm like, what is that? Are you watching
Yeah.
TV on that thing or what?
Yeah. So now, okay, and now it's on. This is my Apple Vision Pro. Like you and I are
Okay,
now
Apple Vision.
you. And so
Okay,
now what it does is this allows me to like have, complete visibility into everything now. So I can see
okay.
my computer, like I've got all sorts of pieces and things going on here in this virtual world. This is like a total game changer, right? So now I can
That
just
thing's
go out.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh man. So like I've got my computer here, I've got my messages here, right? I've got, anything that I want there. I can do any and everything, right? And so now like I have the virtual space that I'm in. So it's a pretty awesome tool. And yeah, it's pretty hot. I love it.
And you can interact with it and actually work from it.
Oh, totally. So like I can, do all my work. Anything that I can do on my computer, I can do it in here.
And how much do you use that on a day to day?
So I use this now. I'm now getting to the point where I use it probably 75-80% of my day.
Really?
Oh, totally.
I'm
Oh,
jealous.
it is
I,
a game changer. Like
yeah,
I don't know if I want to spend 4 grand on this little thing, but like
right,
once I got it, like, oh man, why didn't I buy this sooner? Like this
right.
completely like makes working better,
Huh.
more effective, more easy. Like, I mean, there's like a million benefits from it. So like, I've always had big monitors.
Mm-hmm.
It's have multiple spaces, but one of the things when you have a big monitor, you always get that neck thing, right? Because you're always looking up and you're looking here,
Right.
right? And so now this gives you like perfect ergonomics, right? Because now I can have this huge monitor and it's at this position that is kind of funky because it's kind of like at this diagonal thing where I'm like looking at the perfect way and I can do all my work and I've got all these workspaces and I can put things here and there. It just makes life so much easier. And it's all like in my Apple Vision device.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
have so many expensive hobbies and things that I want to buy. Like, you just added. I mean, that kind of went to the top of the list
Oh,
real
man,
quick.
and
Just
telling you, this is a total game changer. Like, I
huh.
wish I would have bought it. I wish I would have bought it. Actually, it's funny because I go back to my son. Like, my son is now becoming my tech consultant. Like about 9 months ago, my son said, "Dad, you should go and buy this thing." And I'm like, I'm not into VR, right? I'm not into this virtual reality thing.
Right.
And he's like, no, 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 no. What you can work from it, like you can connect it to your computer, because like okay. So he finally like talked me into going to the Apple Store and like, oh, dude, yo, yeah, this is a game changer, like
Wow.
major game changer. It's like awesome. Like if
Yeah.
my wife has to come in and tell me take that thing off, you look.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What are you watching in there?
Oh,
Yeah, I just have this envision of a whole office full of people with this mask on, and everyone's just in their own world, and probably unfortunately not really interacting unless there's a way to interact in the office with other people that have this VR on their face. But
yeah.
um,
I mean, it is cool because I can see out. Like, so if people can be walking around me and I can interact with them, I can see them. It's just like total. At
gotcha.
the same time, I got everything else going. But me and my wife were talking about it. It's like, what does a movie look like? Movie night look like in the future, right? Because
Sure.
I'm telling you, like, I'm watching a movie on here. Like, we've got 100-inch TV downstairs. I'm not
Right.
watching on the 100-inch TV. I'm watching it in here because it is totally immersive, right?
Huh.
It's
Yeah, it's got to be like 3D movie times 12. I
times
mean, I
times 12. So one
I
thing that was really cool, they've got this dinosaur thing, right? And so like
okay.
you put your hand out and like it will like sniff it around and it sees your hand and it's gonna come over and it's like gonna go after and you when you move, it's following you where you go. Right? That's pretty awesome, man. That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
See,
don't do any psychedelics and do that.
oh man. You think about that the entertainment industry is going to be changed. It's changing forever, right? So,
Oh,
like
yeah,
you have this movie where you're a part of the movie. You're not just watching it. Like you're
yeah,
literally. immersed in the movie.
Yeah. What was the movie Avatar with the blue avatars, I guess?
Yeah.
I remember when I watched that for the first time, I was blown away. And my kids wanted me to go see it. I'm like, this is going to be dumb. I mean, really, a 3D movie, like old school, you'd put those little glasses on, and then you go to that movie, and it's like, holy shit, this is the real deal. And how many years ago was that?
That was a while ago, right?
I mean, 15?
Crazy.
I mean, easy. And now we're to the place where we're putting deal right on our face.
That's it.
So,
that is it, man. Yeah. Yeah. Go check it out. If you don't, so here's what I'll tell you. Go down to the Apple store, ask for a demo. They're going to give you a demo, and I'll give you $100 if you don't walk away with it.
I mean, why you don't even need to go do any. It sounds like if you wanted to go scuba diving, you just can plug that thing on your face. But
yeah. There is a shark dive on here.
Is there?
You can do a shark dive experience through here. Totally.
So, have you been shark diving for real?
So, yes and no. Yes.
Okay.
So we've been shark diving, but it was in we did it at Discovery Cove. So at Discovery Cove, they've got the tank where you can dive with the sharks. Well, it's not really a tank, but yeah. So we haven't done it out in the wild with, uncontrolled sharks.
Have you seen the
list?
Yeah, I mean, barracuda freak me out. I mean, you snorkel with barracuda and they're just cruising and they're soulless, and you're like, is this thing going to dart after me and eat me, or is it just going to leave me alone?
Yeah.
And to see a shark in the wild, that's a whole nother level of insanity. It's like there was a post that the lady's sitting on the dive ladder and she sticks her face in the water to clear her mask.
Yeah.
And this shark comes up. Have you seen that video?
No.
So she's there. Yeah, you have to look it up. The shark comes out of the water and she picks her head up out of the water, and this great white, I think it's a great white, is like right in her face, and she just takes her hand and pushes its nose back into the water, and then she gets in the water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are fucking crazy. Like, there's no way I'm getting it. I'm getting back on the boat 100%. I'm taking off all of my gear. There's no way I'm getting in that water. And this chick just like nonchalantly pushes the shark back in the water and then crawls down the dive ladder and gets in the water. And I'm like, what happened next? Is she still with us?
Yeah.
Like,
dun.
Yeah.
Dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cool thing though, I mean, I love the water. I love sharks. Like, I'm a shark right there. So sharks are not aggressive. It doesn't matter what.
Sure.
Sharks aren't aggressive, right? So you sharks all day long, right? They're just not aggressive, right? The people who get bit are surfers who look like a seal, right?
Right.
You look like
sure.
Sharks
and they're hunters.
Yeah. Sharks have terrible vision, horrible vision. Right. So anybody that gets attacked, they got mistaken for food. If you're don't care, they're not going to bother you.
Right. Yeah, and it is interesting when you are underwater and you're swimming with stuff, you're just a part of the ecosystem.
That's it.
And it's crazy. Fish are swimming around you. You could be on a boat fishing and they scatter.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're in the water with them, they're just like, hey, man, what's up?
Chilling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. Well, next time I'm in Tampa, hopefully I have my license and certs by then, and we'll have to get out for sure. So.
All right, man. We'll get you out. I
love it.
Out in the water.
Yeah. I love it. Anything else you want to talk about?
Man, this has been awesome, man. This is good stuff. So, we'll have to just do it again.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we can keep chipping away at different conversations and keep this going as things evolve. And I have a ton of fun talking with you. And it was you're definitely one of the people that things just kept getting drawn out. I'm like, man, this is the wrong guy that I want these podcasts to get drawn out, because I was so excited to talk to you. And we just, between us traveling or, being busy, it just got pushed. But I'm glad we finally got on here.
We finally got it done. So this is awesome.
Yep.
Man.
Well, before we jump off, and we'll put all this in the description and all that, but tell everyone how to get a hold of you, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff. And then if you're driving or whatever, we'll have it in the description. We'll have it on our website. If you go to info@mfgmonkey.com. You can go right to our blog and see all Kevin's information there as well.
Yeah, you can get me on my personal website, kjdean.com. You can check out my company at manobite.com. And of course, Kevin Dean on LinkedIn, you'll find me, KJ Dean, you'll find me there. So love to engage, love to connect.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much. And it was as fun as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, I loved it, man. Have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this episode of MFG Monkey. If you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes, please email them to us at info@mfgmonkey.com.